Ramona Cedeno. I am Dominican and I have honey colored skin. And it's just more beautiful today because I have makeup on that took an hour to put together. And not by me, okay? Who did my makeup here? Raise hand, is she here? Yes. So I am 5 feet 5 inches tall. I do wear heels and I'm not going to sneakers or flats or anything like that. I like my clothes to look semi-fitted. And I always have a smile. It's really hard to take it off, so I probably have a lot of wrinkles in a few years, but let's hold off on that for now. And in terms of my professional background, I came to the US when I was 19, speaking a little bit of English because I love schooling, and I went to English school in DR, the Dominican Republic, and I went to community school here. Got my bachelor's, got my MBA, worked full time during all those years. So I went to school at night. I had 3 sisters and my mom I had to help support. And not support my mom, help my mom support my sisters. And I worked in cashier's roles, billing roles, but it was always very, let's get to the next level. Let's get to the next job. Let's use my associate degree to get a billing job and then get my bachelor's and let me get this other job. And I had my first child when I was out of my 4-year college, so I didn't go to public accounting, but I was lucky enough to land a job at a fractional CFO firm, Geller, in New York City. And they were so amazing when it came to supporting women and families. So I was able to stay there 10 years, raise my son, had my second son, and went for my CPA exam. And after that, left for another job as a controller at a software company, and there was no work-life balance there, none. Left and started my own firm, and my company is Fabric. We provide fractional CFO services, tax compliance services, with a focus on process improvement and automation and making everyone's life easier. Ours, our clients, everyone who works for us. And there is a lot more. You can ask me questions, but I could keep talking about myself forever. I am not shy. I'm not humble. So,
and they should link in with you because she is amazing. She did a good job of describing herself, except she didn't talk about her credentials. So can you please share your credentials?
I even forget what I have. CPA, CFP, PFS, CGMA, a few licenses with FINRA, my MBA, a bunch of certifications, and I'm always participating in the next best program that you send my way. The Goldman Sachs Small Business, the Columbia Entrepreneurship, so anything that comes my way, I'm there. I find the time.
And newly to the board of the New York Society of CPAs.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. Now, I just want to say this. This is also a moment for us to realize we can uplift each other. Because I'm so proud of you. And all of us have our own stories, our own career path. You have to be the best you can be. You can't compare yourself to someone else. I've been through that, where it always seems like someone else's kids were more well-behaved. Their house was always more clean. They were more perfect. And then you just have to realize that you have to be you. And you have to own it. And so I appreciate you owning it. And then you told me to do mine.
And you listened, right?
She did.
That was a nice conversation. So I am an accountant, right? We are known for being conservative, right? But I also I like stability. I like to wake up in the same home. You know, I don't move every 5 years. I have lived in the same place for 15 years. I worked for Geller for 10 years. Like who lasts that long at a company, right? So when it came time to start my firm, it was scary. And that wasn't the intention. I quit my job because I wasn't happy, and I just said, I'm not working here anymore. And I was at home and I cried for 30 seconds. That's what I do when I'm stressed out. I just cry for 30 seconds and then that's it. It's so funny. My husband and my kids know. They were like, okay, Mom, just you cried out and you'll be fine in 30 seconds. It's the best thing ever. So I cried for 30 seconds and then I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? And everyone kept telling me, start your own business. My friends and my family, my beautiful sisters, who some of them are here, and my husband. And I was like, but how am I going to get clients? What if I don't have, I need my money coming in. I don't want to use my savings. And my husband said, if it doesn't work, which I'm sure it will because he has the personality for it, that's all he had to say. If it doesn't work, you can go back to an accounting job. What's the worst that can happen? And I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to you. You are always right. When I was expecting my baby and I thought, how is it going to look or what is going to happen? You told me that everything was going to be fine, and it was fine, so I'm going to listen to you. So I started my firm and just leaned on people that were supportive, didn't listen to the ones that were like, oh, the job market is difficult, or what if, no, I just listened to the ones that were pushing me forward and asked for help. And it worked out. Having Firebreak is going to be 6 years. It's kind of up there with like having my kids is the best thing in life, right? It's kind of up there. It's one of my babies now, so very happy that I did it.
It's so interesting you would say that having your kids were, because I described one day some of the best things that had happened to me. And I actually did say, it was not in order and on purpose, but passing the CPA exam. And then I said, oh, of course, the birth of my kids. And my son said, did you really say the CPA exam? Passing that test was really great. What about you, Ramona?
Well, whenever I saw that day coming, I was just concerned about what my pay raise was going to be. That was the first thing that came to my mind. How is this going to impact my pay increase? No, so I consider myself to be quite coachable. I like to learn from individuals, institutions. So anytime I get the opportunity to receive feedback, I welcome it. And I was fortunate to have people, especially, I think of Geller. I also worked for Time Inc. for 5 years, but at Geller I spent 10 years, so that's what sticks in my memory most commonly. But when I think back, the feedback was always constructive, of course, but there was one time when what I received was life-changing, and you are the only other person that I know that appreciates or values that CPA more than me. But I had been there for so many years and I had not gotten my CPA because of my child and different things. So my boss told me, you have already been at all these different roles. You have been the manager of this and the director of this. So how, what do you have next? What do you want to do next? And I didn't know what to say. And he said, what I see for you that might be good is for you to get your CPA license. And I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? I'm like already 10 years after college. And I always felt incomplete because I didn't have my CPA license. That was like, when I was in the room with CPAs, I was like, oh my gosh, do I belong here? Because I didn't have my license. So it was always in the back of my head. And when he told me that, I was like, okay, if that's what's going to take for whatever comes next, let me do it. So I took the next 18 months, literally studied like every free time that I had. I went to the Yankee games with my books and I sat there reading my books. My son was there, my husband was there. I was just studying everywhere I went. The first thing I did when I got up in the morning is after having my coffee was get my books. And I passed all parts one at a time, but over the 18 months, oh my gosh, that was like, I felt like a $1 billion woman after that. It was really amazing. So I appreciated that so much, and I never forget that.
That was some painful advice.
Yes.
That was good. No, just joking.
The best part, I think what made it more valuable was that he wasn't a CPA. So he wasn't just telling me like, do this because you have to, everyone has to have it. He was just really thinking about my best interest.
And what's interesting, because one of the things I say is that credentials fuels competence. So I know the lightning bolt is going to come get me, but if for whatever reason you decided you didn't want to be a CPA because you're in business and industry, the amazing news is that we have the CGMA. And the CGMA is a rigorous career path, but it might be more in line and more in step with your more immediate goals. So don't think that because you didn't get the CPA that's it. Right. There are still other credentials, especially the CGMA, that would be extremely valuable. I don't want them to think that. But did you, Ramona or Sue, have a different definition of what imposter syndrome means, and have you experienced it? And let's be honest, that I went on and on. You did or not?
I didn't even know what that was until someone brought it up a year ago. Yeah, so no, I belong where I am, and I stand in my 2 high heels and with my hands like Wonder Woman, and I'm here. So no.
Okay, Sue, what about you?
So I think I've deserved everything personally, but I am sure that there were people out there, particularly when I got that promotion to vice president in the early 90s, that were saying that. In fact, I know for a fact of a couple of people who said that. So,
well,
and that was not a good place to be.
No, because they don't know you. And so I remember having this discussion with Rich Cotterano. And he said, well, Kimberly, you're the chairman. That's enough said. And I said, Rich, but they see you and you look like the chairman of AICPA. I mean, I didn't look like what everyone was used to. I've met people since I've been here that didn't know that they had a black chairman. They were like, so, how did I miss that? And of course, because I'm so candid, I mean, you mean that they had a black chairman? I was like, yeah, I can see how that would be kind of shocking and surprising, given that I was the first one in that role. So what's the next question?
Okay. Do you have a sponsor, advocate, who helped you on your advancement into leadership roles? And if so, how did you find them?
Melanie, you can pass if you want. I don't think they mean for all of us to answer it, but I don't want to ever, in today's environment where we're looking for talent in the daylight with a flashlight, I don't think they're going to let you go, and they're willing to accommodate some of the things you're asking for.
That's right.
Yeah. Crystal, whatever this is Ramona's question.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
It's actually fitting for you, I think.
Oh,
So-
I like that.
Okay. In growing your practices or careers, what is one tool or resource that supported you increasing the value you see in yourself?
In myself, not the firm.
Yes, in yourself.
It has always been just continuously learning new things, getting ready for that next client, feeling so that I can avoid experiencing ever that imposter syndrome, feeling that I have the skills, the education, the training to take on any project that I want to work on. So it's not just taking whatever comes my way. We have picked the projects, the clients, the services that we want to provide, and the people that we want to work with. So it's really getting ready for delivering what we promise in the best way possible. And we have, I personally have created this perception that we are differentiated, of course, 100% from every other firm in New York City, and you have thousands. And working on that has been my priority, and I think that has made the difference in growing the practice.
Amazing. And I think what's also interesting about Ramona that she didn't say is that she volunteers a lot. And I believe that if you're looking to be as comfortable as they all are, or as I am standing here, and you're like, I don't think I could ever do that, you have to volunteer, get involved in your state societies, get involved in AICPA committees, meet people that you don't know. You have to push yourself into an uncomfortable zone in order to grow. And I can see that that's a commonality from each one of their careers. I know that we still probably haven't gotten to all of the questions, but we can give maybe some written answers and send them back to the hashtag DEI engage or something. But I do want to give each one of you an opportunity to give some advice, one sentence on advice to people who would look at your career and say they'd like to do something similar to motivate them to be the best version of themselves. And so I'm going to come back to you, Sue. I'm going to go to Ramona and then end on Melanie.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Ramona.
No. Mine
No,
is-
Sue's like, go.
I'll say it.
No, go ahead.
No,
Seriously.
she wants you to go.
Okay, great. So thank you. My advice is related to this story. Very short. I'm going to keep it short. When I met Kimberly, it was at a space like this. It was at the beginning of my career, of my company 5 years ago, and I was just so a little shy, if you can believe that. She was presenting. I sat at my table. I waited for her to be done. And then she goes to my table and she says, "So who are you?" And I said, "I'm Ramona. And what are you doing? Tell me about you." I told her I had just started my new company. "You did what? That's so amazing. Oh my gosh, how do you do that? I need to talk to you." And she's from Maryland, I'm in New York, and she said, "Here's my card, call me, I'll email you when I'm back in New York." I went home and I Googled her. She was all over the place. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, she's famous." Oh, I told my husband, "Look who I met today. Look how she speaks." And when she came to New York, she did email me first. I'm like, she emailed me, right? So we met. And by the way, there was in the room, you said, I asked you, "How do you want to be called, Kim or Kimberly?" And you said, "How do you like to be called?" And I said, "Ramona, Mona, Ramo." So it was Kimberly, I guess. So she has been so supportive all this time. And so allies, my advice is to build your team, your fan club, your ambassadors, your evangelists, people that really support you, but give back. Right? It's not just about calling when you need something. It's about being present, thinking about the person. How are you doing? And I know I have a long list, but I manage to stay in touch with everyone and really nurture those relationships. I have it on the list, a checklist, so I don't forget. And I schedule them. Build your tribe.
Thank you. She is on my personal board of directors, so thank you, Ramona. All of these ladies are. Okay, so Sue.